So last year we undertook the Engage Web Survey, 2011. This year we did the same thing for 2012. So we looked at 10 vertical sectors in the New Zealand market, and we took the 5 most trafficked sites for each of those sectors, and we attempted to measure engagement, which is obviously a very subjective term. And what did we find from that report? In essence, websites and brands are doing a lot better job this year than they were last year. Last year the overall performance was pretty much average in terms of the levels of engagement. But this year we found that brands are doing a heck of a lot better, and that the way they're engaging with their audience, with their consumers. Big trends this year, obviously, in the mobile space and increased use of social media. So it's not any great surprise, I guess. You know, we're all familiar with the level of investment that's going into mobile and social channels. So why did we do it again? Well, we wanted to have some comparative data. So last year, you know, everyone got a score, and we got an overall flavour that people were sort of performing, or the overall, you know, word was average, if you like, not very exciting, but you know, that's where we felt sites were at. And this year the scores did move up sort of markedly, dramatically, a reasonable amount, you know, in some cases 20 or 30% higher than last year based on similar criteria. So again, even though it's obviously a very subjective term, and it's hard to, you know, quantify something that's will vary, you know, from person to person or from user to user or site to site, I think that the trend overall was, you know, a far more engaging experience across those 10 sectors and across the 5 sites that we looked at, which we would expect. Probably a little bit more or a little bit higher, or the jump, between last year and this year, probably more than we'd expected or anticipated, and we would expect, you know, the same thing again next year. In fact, if we do it again next year, we'll probably focus it even more on mobile and tablet and device and so forth, and increasingly social media, but we can't, you know, forget about the website. People do still make websites, so we would expect that to continue, obviously. So I think the biggest changes that we've noticed from last year to this year are in social media, obviously, and the mobile space. People are investing a lot more heavily in those channels. It remains to be seen where the investment will end up in 5 years. But I think it's clear that more and more brands are not moving away from the mothership website, if you like, but they're having to spread their investment across many web properties. Obviously, they still have the mothership website, but more and more they're spending money on mobile channels and social media and so forth. That said, there's still a lot to be done in the mobile space. So some of the brands and the companies that we looked at in the report haven't gone as far as they could do in the mobile space. There's a lot that you can invest in the mobile channel. So you can have custom applications, whether they're on device, be it mobile, smartphone or tablets, obviously. The number of applications that you can have on device is unlimited. So some people will just have the basic website on their device, and others have a mobile optimized site. Some people have even versions of that site depending on the device, and then increasingly, you know, people have custom applications to improve the experience and focus on key tasks or key benefits from the user's point of view. I think a lot of people have just upped the ante in terms of the level of investment, so more rich media, more interactive content, especially for those kinds of channels that you would expect. So news and media, entertainment, banking and finance, shopping and so forth. Less so in some of the other sectors, health and lifestyle, government, and there's probably, you know, good reasons for that. Creating rich interactive media can be expensive, and so for some of those vertical sectors or channels rather, there's just not as much return on investment in making everything, you know, interactive and producing everything as video, or trying to repurpose, you know, something that's a basic web page and trying to make it more engaging. So I think that's probably one of the reasons.